Do you actually need this? Do you need the latest iPhone? Do you need the latest AirPods? And do you need the latest Apple Watch? Today I'm here to answer all of these questions because that's what reviews don't tell you, and that's what I'm gonna tell you. As a user who bought these devices, I've been using them for almost a week and I do have my thoughts. And yeah, I got the orange one. I'm filming this on my birthday, so if you value my commitment, I'd be very happy if you would subscribe. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about the color first. So if you want to get the orange one, is it the color of your dreams? Maybe not of your dreams, or maybe not all of you like orange, but this orange is a beautiful orange. It resembles a beautiful sunset you've seen, and I'm sure we all love sunsets. It's not like a ugly, bold orange. It really looks kind of orangey, goldish. It is beautiful. It is even more stunning in person. I have it in a case because I don't want it to get scratched, because I know that by this time we've all seen the images of the iPhones getting scratched. So that's a thing I might start with. So put a case on it, okay? I mean, you're not getting a phone for this amount of money if you're not gonna protect it. First thing you do, put a glass on it, put a case on it, and you're covered. One mistake I did was not getting a MagSafe case straight from the beginning, but when I looked at the cases, I didn't like any of them, so I wanted to wait for a while until I found a case which actually matches my vibe. So I just got a clear case. This is not a MagSafe. And so what I did the first night was I put the case down because I wanted to wirelessly charge my phone, and when I woke up the next morning, I could see a ring, okay? I could see a ring from the MagSafe charger. It wasn't a scratch. I was able to clean it away pretty easily, so it wasn't like permanent. But what if this happens over time? What if it leaves marks over time and people are reporting the same thing? I think we have to investigate this for a little more to see what the deal is, but I'm just sharing my thoughts, and I'm just sharing my experience, and so that you can get a MagSafe case straight from the beginning and not even face this issue. Again, to the colors, the deep blue is beautiful, the silver one is kind of like meh, the orange one is really the one that stands out. And the girlies are saying, but I don't want an orange phone, I want a pink one. But I'm like, I don't want to have a pink or lavender iPhone like every year. I don't think those colors are fun. I think pastels are kind of like, okay, maybe they match your vibe, but they're so boring. So I'm happy for the orange. It looks bold. Everyone looks at it. If you don't want everyone looking at it, probably don't get the orange or just cover it with a case. It also looks a little bit more matching to the Ultra Watch, because the Ultra Watch, especially the one I have, the natural titanium with the orange details, it just matches the phone perfectly. Okay, now let's get to something a bit more technical. So we went from titanium to aluminium. We have an aluminium unibody now, and I saw this as a great change towards, of course, carbon neutrality, but then again, the thermals, because when I was using this phone in the sun in the summer, it was just unusable. I was so sad about it. Like, imagine you want to be tanning for a while, so you cover your head and you have your phone in the shadow and you're trying to like browse the internet or something. No, forget it. Like, the screen's gonna dim in 1 minute and you're not gonna do anything because it's gonna get so hot. I've had this phone for a week and I couldn't see any thermal issues. It was not overheating at all, not even when I was downloading everything from iCloud, because I was setting up my new phone. So that's definitely for the better. Also, it now has a vapor chamber, which means that it can distribute the heat even better, and it basically avoids any kind of hotspots. So you should have fewer slowdowns, fewer throttling, and I can definitely feel that. Of course, browsing in the sun isn't always just about the thermals, but also about the peak brightness, and that went from 2000 nits to 3000 nits, so yes, the phone is more readable in direct sunlight. Now I'm gonna take it out of the case. You can see that there is a change in the design. You can see that the camera bump is, well, more prominent, and it now takes up the whole width of the phone. Now, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I don't see any difference, to be honest. I thought that it would lie flat on the table. It doesn't, because the cameras still stick out, which is kind of like a missed opportunity, I think, because, I don't know, okay, this adds kind of like more 3D dimension, but it could have been cool if it just would lie flat on the table. So there's also this new ceramic shield too on the back and on the front, but on the back, it looks kind of interesting. So they added this rectangle down here. It looks nice. It leaves a lot of fingerprints. Since this is a matte finish, it doesn't leave any fingerprints at all, at least nothing I could see so far. So Overall, I love a matte finish more than a glossy one, especially on the edges. It looks really nice. But the back leaves a lot of fingerprints, so in case you are not a fan of that, like you have to clean it a lot. From a design standpoint, looking at the phone and seeing the beautiful orange edges, look how nice it looks from the front, because you can also see the edges when looking like this. It kind of looks nice, okay? It's aesthetic. What I was so mad about after the Apple event was that reviewers were claiming that the phone now gets an 8x optical zoom. No, it doesn't, okay? That's false. And other reviewers were saying, oh, it's not 8x optical, it's cropped. True. It's cropped and enhanced. And those reviewers were saying, yeah, but we went from a 5x optical zoom to a 4x optical zoom, and that's a downgrade. No, that's not a downgrade, because the sensor, the camera, is actually much better. And I'm gonna show you a comparison between the 17 Pro Max and the 16 Pro Max. It was captured with the 4X on the 17 and it was captured with the 5X on the 16 Pro Max. You can see the difference in the details, and I think that it's a major difference. So any kind of improvement in the camera is something I'm considering. So I did consider it in this case as well. So the telephoto now is also a 48 megapixel TerraPrism design. And the zoom isn't optical, it's optical quality like. So Apple was really careful with the wording there and fooled a lot of reviewers. So it's cropped in, okay, we get the 4X optical, and then we crop in to get the 8X, plus it's enhanced with AI, of course, so it looks really good, it looks super crisp. What's also kind of interesting, and what I didn't notice, is when you are using the 8X optical like zoom, at first you see a lot of noise in the thing you're trying to capture, and then it gets processed, so you actually see what the final picture is kind of gonna look like. So you see a preview of the better quality image. So it's kind of interesting, like you try to capture something, at first you have a lot of noise, then you have less noise, then you take the picture and it's nice. So all the rear cameras are 48 megapixel, and we got an improvement in the selfie camera, because we're going from 12 megapixel to 18 megapixel, and we're getting a center stage camera, which is basically a square sensor. So you now don't have to flip your phone around when you want to take a grip selfie or something. The only thing you need is to tap a button and there you go, because it's cropped, which is a really nice feature. I know many times when I wanted to quickly take a selfie with someone and we just didn't fit all vertically, so we wanted to switch to horizontal, and someone having small hand, it's kind of like and also I can reach the shutter button much better when it's vertical than as when it's horizontal. We also got a dual capture video, which means that we can now capture ourselves and also capture what we are capturing, which is a really nice feature for anyone going to concerts, for example. I've seen many people just sharing their expression while at the concert, but then you always have to decide, do I want to film the concert or do I want to film myself reacting to the concert? So now you don't need to decide, because you are getting both. But the only issue is that it's baked in. So you basically see what you're filming with the rear camera, and your selfie camera kind of gets baked in as a little window. You can move the window around, that's no issue at all, but you just can't save the video from your selfie camera as a standalone video. So that's definitely good for creators, vloggers, or anyone just wanting to film their expression or film both things at one time. Of course, since we have the square sensor and the center stage camera, it's much better for stabilization, because you can just crop better. On the Pro models, you also get ProRes RAW, Lock 2, and Gen Lock. So if you're someone who's trying to synchronize multiple cameras, this is a great way to just add your iPhone to your Pro content creation. We now also went from 8 gigabytes of RAM to 12 gigabytes of RAM, and you can really feel that. Like, everything is smoother, windows just don't close randomly. Like coming back to a window you just minimized, it doesn't refresh, it's still there. It also gets the new A19 Pro processor. The single core performance should be around 15 to 20% better, and also has significant GPU improvements. We're talking about 20 to 30%. Of course, this is a bit more difficult to test, and I'm giving you my experiences as an end user. I can really tell you that the phone feels more smoother, quicker. Now storage, we're starting at 256 gigabytes, and for the Pro Max you have an option to go up to 2 terabytes. So if that's something you need, I don't know, I'm paying for iCloud and it's kind of convenient, but yeah, of course there are people who just like to have all their files on their phone, so if that's you, there you go. I don't want to talk about software that much, but we are getting the beautiful iOS 26, the liquid glass, but of course this is a software thing, so you can update your phone and get the same features. What I like a lot, and I just want to add it there, is the clear app design. I hated it at first because everything was just like the same color, and I was used to seeing the icons and recognizing the icons. But in the end, I can't switch back to normal icons anymore because it's also a thing which clears your head a bit, and even though you don't feel that it is kind of like mentally draining you to look at all the apps, it is. And it just feels so much calmer to just have the clear apps and know the position of the apps rather than what they look like. Because I'm sure you know where your apps are located anyway. Now, battery life. Battery life has definitely improved. From my experience, I used to go to bed with, well, around 20% of battery, so I had to charge it overnight. And now I'm going to bed with around 30% of battery, so I don't have to charge it overnight, but when I wake up, the phone needs to be charged. So when I wake up, from 30, I'm on 24, let's say. I think now we can move to the watch and to the AirPods because I feel like that's everything I have to say about the phone. Obviously, new design, looks better, better thermals, better performance, everything smoother, nicer. Camera improvement, of course. So if that's something you like, there we go. Now moving on to the new Watch Ultra 3 I got. I've done a separate video about if you actually need a smartwatch. So if you're interested in that, have a look at that. I tried to sum up the reasons why you should and shouldn't get a smartwatch. Now talking about the improvements on the Watch Ultra 3. There is not much to talk about. There is really not much to talk about. I don't think that many features have been introduced on the Watch Ultra 3. One thing that has been introduced definitely is that it can now help you with hypertension, which if you struggle with hypertension, that's a nice feature to have, but it's actually not a sensor. It's not something that's trying to measure your blood pressure. No, it's just assisted. So it basically reminds you every day at a certain time to just take a measurement, and it can then over time try to figure out if you're having hypertension issues or not. Yeah, then again, this is a software feature, so it's coming to previous watches as well, so that's not really an improvement, right? On the new watchOS 26, it can also calculate your sleep score. Okay, maybe nice. It was monitoring your sleep anyway. If you need to sum it up in a score, there you go, you have a score now, so well, I guess it might be useful to people who really don't sleep well. We're now also getting a bigger screen in the same case, so we have reduced bezels. Great. The battery life on the Ultra Watch has also been improved, so we now get 42 hours of normal use and 72 hours in low power mode, which is nice. The smaller bezels and the better battery were the reasons why I got the upgrade in the first place, and those definitely live up to your expectations. So if you don't want to charge your watch every day or every 2 days and you need a little bit of more extra time to, well, plan the charging, then this is definitely for you, especially for someone who's sleeping with the watch, because I am sleeping with the watch, so I'm not putting it onto the charger at night, so I have to charge it throughout the day. It also has an improved GPS, 5G connectivity, and you can use it if you're off the grid because it now also supports satellite. Now back to the display, definitely better viewing angles, so that also lives up to the expectation. The display also emits more light. So, for example, when you're going to the toilet at night, it now shines brighter. It also feels a lot quicker, a lot smoother. The apps close and open very quickly. Love the redesign of the watchOS 26. So if these are some improvements which are important to you, then maybe get the upgrade. Of course, these aren't like major improvements that would make you and force you into upgrading, not at all. And now, let's get to the final item I got, which are the AirPods Pro 3. I had the AirPods Pro 2 before, and they were fine for the things I needed to get done, like when I was editing on the road and I didn't want anyone to like hear what I was listening to and I needed to be in my own space, or when I was flying. I love the noise cancellation. That's like super calming when you're on a flight, so you can sleep or you can relax, and it's just nice. So why I got the new ones, I need some kind of headphones anyway for travel, and I don't like these big bulky ones which go over your ears. Now it's a better anatomical fit. You also get the smallest ear tips, so that's like XXS, and I'm actually using the XXS ones. Yeah, definitely an improvement. Also, the sound quality feels so much better, the surround sound and everything. I still get headaches, unfortunately, don't know why, but I do get headaches from wearing these. Now, Apple claims it's about 2 times better active noise cancelling. What I noticed is that when you're switching, like when you have the active noise cancelling and you're switching between like talking to someone, because when you're talking to someone, it switches on the transparency mode, so we can actually hear the other person talking, and then it switches back also to noise cancelling, so you can listen to your music, etc. That's very nice. I feel like that's much smoother and much quicker now, so it feels more natural, because before someone was talking to me and I had to wait pretty long to do it actually switch so that I could listen to them and so that I could answer them, because I didn't like being in the noise cancelling mode when I was talking to someone. It was just weird. So that's much quicker, much smoother now. Also, they introduced the live translation, so now when you're talking to someone who's a foreigner, well, you can understand each other. Well, kinda. This is not in Europe, so I can't test that. But I've seen Dylan Page talk about it, and I've seen him test it. And it didn't work that well. I mean, it worked really well with the translation, so it could really get what you were talking about. But the thing was that it was super slow, of course. So you had to leave pretty long pauses between what you were saying, so the other person can wait for the translation, comprehend the translation, and answer you back. Definitely needs improvement, but it is definitely something that you can work around. So if you just ask the person to talk slowly, leave gaps, it's working. We're now also getting a better battery life, 8 hours with active noise cancellation and 10 hours in transparency mode. And it also has a heart rate sensor, so now when you put it into your ears, it can actually monitor your heart. So if you don't have a watch, that's a nice thing to have. As a result, it can also help you track calories and track your workout. So if you don't have a watch, if you don't want to get a watch and you love headphones and you want to have the AirPods, this is definitely something to consider. I think I talked for a bit. I didn't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to sum up my thoughts. So there you go. Are these worth an upgrade? Are these not worth an upgrade? So just as a summary, if you want a little bit of a quicker phone and smoother, you want a better camera, these are the things that would make you upgrade. Maybe if you want a design change. I think this design is very fresh. I think it is an improvement. Some people are saying it's like going back. I don't think so. I really like this. I think it looks great. Definitely switch. When we're talking about the watch, well, if you want a better battery, if you want a larger display, and if you want a smoother experience, yes. And talking about the AirPods, if you want a better fit, like if you're struggling with the earphones fitting into your ear, if you want the live translation, if it's available in your country, and if you want a smoother experience with the active noise cancelling and the transparency mode, then you could switch. Would I be okay skipping a year? Definitely. Am I happy that I upgraded? Yes, I don't regret it, but these aren't like huge improvements which would like change the world. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below what you think so we can have a discussion, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!